Hey, today I'm going to be going over a trigger-based connector proof of concept that you can do in Domo. Um, the basic idea here is the normal Domo framework is when you have a connector, you can pull it in using a cron job, right? So every hour, every 15 minutes, every 30 minutes. And let's say we have a use case where instead of having it time-based, we'd like it to be trigger-based. So as soon as the data has updated in a source system, pull it over to Domo right away. And so the POC that I'm going to show you today is based on Amazon, an S3 bucket using AWS. And the whole idea is right here where let's say data refreshes at a certain point, and for this POC, we have no idea when this data refreshes, but it's going to land in this S3 bucket. Once it's landed, we want it to update in Domo as soon as possible. And we accomplish this with a Lambda function. And so I'll show that a little later on, but this is kind of the overall framework where it hits the S3 bucket, it then goes on to Domo afterward. And so I'm going to do an example here where this is my S3 bucket where it just has CSV files. I'm going to upload a CSV file, and then that file will go into Domo automatically. And so I've set up my S3 connector here. And just to make sure, just to show you, if I go to settings and scheduling, right now you can see it's manually set. So there's nothing else except my trigger that's gonna run this job. And so now let's run the job real quick. So I'm going to upload a file to my S3 bucket. And let's pick this one right here and let's upload it. And now we'll click upload and then we'll go over to our Domo and see that right as I uploaded it, it'll trigger a connector to refresh right away. So now we'll upload it. Okay, now we'll come over here and we can see it's already importing. And it's a pretty small data set, so it'll probably, store and prepare it pretty quick. So in this case, if I come to data, it refreshed the data with what I just put in. And if I come to the history tab, we can see that, I configured, this was the manual save, and then now it's successfully updated the rows, right? So how did I accomplish this? As I mentioned before in this diagram, this is kind of it's a different framework than normal Domo connectors where it's trigger based. And so I'm going to show the Lambda function real quick. All a Lambda function is code that can be executed in the cloud in your AWS environment in a serverless environment. And so in this case, I have some Python that's running here, and I'm actually not that good in Python. So what I did is I used a utility like Postman to generate my request. And so I'm going to pull up Postman real quick to kind of show you how that works. So I got my Postman right here. So in this case, if I come over here, I had a Domo one that I configured. And let's just go to this one right here. So in this case, if I want to grab the code, I'm just going to come over here to the code and I'm going to click a Python one. Let's go Python HTTP client and copy that. And so in that case, you can just copy and paste this right over here and paste it into your Lambda function. So that's kind of how a Lambda function works. You can add triggers to it. So in this case, I added an S3 bucket trigger. There's other triggers too, right? So any kind of web service. But if you're using S3 as a data lake, you can just click here, and then it lets you configure it with some logic. In this case, you can choose the bucket you want and all that kind of stuff. But this is kind of more or less how I got this connector up and running pretty quick. It only took me about an hour or so. So it's a very simple process. And as I mentioned before, there's lots of different use cases that you could do with this. Really, it's just if you have data that you don't know when it's going to update and it's critical that you get it right away, a trigger-based connector might be a better approach than just doing a time-based cron job where you're guessing, more or less when it's going to connect. So anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.